CBS 21 News presents Face the State with Joel D. Smith, a look at the issues and politics that shape Pennsylvania.
All right, folks, let's get started right here. My first guest this morning, one of the most vocal supporters of President Trump in Pennsylvania. It is Republican Congressman Dan Meuser. Welcome back to the show.
Joel, great to be with you.
We have a lot to talk about. We just got past the first 100 days. What's the biggest success? What do you like the most?
Well, I'll tell you what, the sentiment coming out of Pennsylvania, the sentiment coming out of my district is quite positive. Unlike what you hear in most of the media, people have a sense of hope. People know, I hear all the time, they're just happy to know that they've got somebody fighting for them. And that's why I'm there with President Trump. We are fighting for America. He puts it as America first. But it is about very much as well reversing the actions and initiatives and policies of the previous administration that people, as we clearly know, voted strongly against throughout Pennsylvania and throughout the country. I mean, we corrected the border, Joel. I mean, we had 7,000, 8,000 only a year ago illegals coming across a day. Today, it's down to less than 100 a day.
Yeah, the border's the big one.
Yep. The fentanyl is down. That means the human trafficking is down. So people have a sense of hope. And obviously transparency, and that the things are only going to get better from here.
We always point that out. You know, we do a lot of stories on how these things have affected people, whether it's the tariffs or whatever. And yes, there's some negative outcomes with some of those people, but we're always quick to point out a lot of people like what's happening as well. So you pointed that out as well. But I want to get to some challenges on these things. A lot of this stuff's being done by executive action, which lends itself to court challenges because sometimes those things can't be done by executive action, even though it does get the ball rolling. Governor Shapiro, in particular, announcing this week that he joined the lawsuit to challenge some of the president's cuts as well. What's your take on the give and take here instead of going through Congress to try to get this stuff in a more traditional way?
What he's doing is constitutional. If it's not, the Supreme Court will overturn it, and we'll certainly call them on it. We take an oath of office. So we are going to be looking over time to codify many of the president's actions, but many are within his authority, of course. I mean, you know, he's certainly not the first president to be issuing executive orders. It's a lot for the first 100 days. Franklin Roosevelt's the only one who had more executive orders, but Barack Obama was not too far behind during his first 100 days. Look, President Trump has been in office once before. This time around, he is very serious about staying on Trump time, if you will, with a real sense of urgency, the type of urgency that you have when you enter a business and that business needs turnaround because America needs a turnaround. And do it in relatively short order.
Is that what Trump time is, doing stuff fast?
Yes, I think it is. It's doing things fast, but it's being very persistent, being on top of things and managing to the point of micromanaging if necessary.
Is defunding or taking away federal funding from PBS, NPR, is that something you think the executive order can do, or should that be part of the budget, just pulling it out of there when it comes to that kind of funding?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I mean, the president issued this and yesterday, I believe, or last week, and we will determine that. Now, here's the deal, right? We've got over $37 trillion in national debt. Our deficit spending is almost $2 trillion. Our service on our debt is $1 trillion. Joel, we've got a real serious fiscal financial crisis in our country. And it needs to be recognized and it needs to be dealt with. We've got to go from the nice to haves to the must haves. I don't think anybody will argue. There's a lot of TV channels out there. There's a lot of media that they can get with that isn't supported through government funding. So PBS, NPR, they need to make a case for themselves. If they think the American taxpayer should be affording them subsidies and millions of dollars, tens of millions, for them to be on the air, they need to make the case for it.
So, but they've been around forever. You know their case. Do you buy it or not? Do you think they should be funded?
I'm going to have to review that a little bit closer because I think there's some value to NPR and PBS, but whether or not the American taxpayer should be funding it, right out of the gate, even just stating it is probably categorically no.
Okay. I want to get to some more things that might end up in the budget, maybe not. But there's been a call from President Trump to do a 15% cut to the VA. And so that would be 80,000 employees nationwide when it comes to it. The other part of that's come up recently, just this past week, is ending that new mortgage rescue program for veterans that helped out about 20,000 try to avoid foreclosure. The big VA in Lebanon, it was within your district. What's your take on the effects that will happen here?
Well, look, I've got nearly 60,000 veterans in my district. Multiply that by their family members who are affected by the service and the commitment that those individuals made to our country. We have in the Commonwealth almost 900,000 veterans. I are very supportive of our veterans, as is our president, as is our Republican caucus, and I'd venture to say our Democrat caucus. Doug Collins, the new VA secretary, is a friend of mine. He's very committed. He's a veteran himself. He's not going to do anything that diminishes benefits or services to our veterans. And we will see what happens there. If there's any concern about less services, my constituents know they can come to me, and I'll be weighing in on their behalf.
Yeah, I hear you on the big numbers, but specifically on this program that was just ended, it's 20,000 veterans would have avoided foreclosure. They're talking about, this rescue program in particular. Are you concerned about that one, if you're going to really look at specific pieces?
Yeah, honestly, I've heard some about that. My understanding is it's going to be transferred into a different fund, but still made available. So I'll have to get back to you fully on that.
Gotcha. Last thing, about what happened at the governor's residence, that arson there. They're talking about public hearings on this, or maybe not necessarily so public because it is a security issue and maybe some failings that were there. What is your take on maybe coming full on that, or maybe redacting some of it and then revealing the rest to the public?
Well, Joe, look, I'm just simply for transparency. The public can handle it, so I don't know why there wouldn't be a review that the public was made aware of. It is the people's house, the governor's residence, so that should be taken care of. And I'll just add this: look, we denounced that firebombing or attack on the governor's mansion and stated inaccurately that I blamed him partially for some of his rhetoric as to why this attack took place. That was false, and the governor knows it. What I did do, though, a few days after, I did accuse, and rightfully so, the governor stated that President Trump was taking food out of hungry Pennsylvanians' mouths, and he knows that was very false. He's got plenty of funding, and more is on its way for that, and the two are not related whatsoever. So the idea that the governor wanted to play political games on both issues is, politics. And I like taking care of business well before politics.
Okay, well, you took care of business today. So thanks for being on the Face the State again, and I'm sure we'll see you in the future. Dan Meuser.
Thanks, Joe.
Good to see you. All right.